Hey everyone, I'm here with Anthony Muscat today, and we're going to be talking about his business, his experience working together, and of course, his results from working on the B2B lead machine. So welcome, Anthony.
Thanks, Ryan. Nice to be here, mate.
Perfect. Well, please tell me a little bit more about yourself and of course, Code Brewery, which is an awesome name for a web design agency.
Yeah, sure. So as Ryan said, my name's Anthony and I'm the director of Code Brewery, a software development studio based in Sydney, but working with clients throughout Australia and even a couple of clients internationally as well. In short, the little elevator pitch, I suppose, we're a software studio that works primarily with advertising agencies to provide them with development services for whatever they need: websites, apps, intranets, games, everything in between. We also work with some direct clients, but our primary focus is partnering with those agencies to become that digital arm, so to speak. We've been around since, I started running the business in October 2012, and it's been chugging along pretty healthily since then. And I got on board with Ryan and his program probably about a year ago now. And that was primarily due to a massive drop off in work thanks to COVID.
COVID, what's this COVID that you speak of?
Yeah, so I just thought I'd try something else to pick up the business again. And that's when Ryan popped into my LinkedIn inbox.
Yeah, so that was going to be my next question is how did you come across me? But like most people, we met through LinkedIn, which is great. And
what I really like your own campaign on me.
Yeah. What I really like about your story is a lot of people in this space know how competitive a space it is. And it's great to hear and I guess share your experience like generating leads in a space that is very competitive, software and web design.
Yeah.
So
totally.
I guess I'll ask what part of the program added the most value to you, I guess, in getting through that competitive noise?
Yeah, look, I think it's volume. I mean, I've worked in this business for a long time and in this industry for even longer time. And in that time, I've been in roles of project management, account management, or all of that. And, in the account management side of thing and the B2B, BDM side of thing, it's a numbers game. The more people you contact, the greater chance you've got of, getting work out of it. So with this automated system that you've created, it's a numbers game. And, I might, my system might reach out to 30, 40 people a day. I don't know. And maybe in that day, all 30 or 40 don't respond, or they do respond, but not with, hey, let's get on a call. Who knows? But eventually, the leads do come through. And that's what has been so beneficial, because it's automated and I'm not physically looking through directories of names and trying to find out who's the head of digital at this company, or who's the IT manager at that company, and it's all done for you. And if it doesn't work out with certain clients, it doesn't matter, because then there's someone else being pinged 2 seconds later. So
yeah, that's right. I always tell people, like, a lot of people say, oh, I'd rather contact less people and have more people respond, positively, get on calls and more clients. And I'm like, yeah.
Yeah.
Of course you would. We all would. But even, I mean, if you have a bad approach to doing this, you can't scale up crap. So yeah, even with a really solid, great message, great offer, all that sort of stuff, yeah, you still just need to talk to enough people to find those with the need. So it's great for you to talk about that, because a lot of people, I think, need to hear that as well.
Yeah, totally. And it's, each industry is a bit different. Depends on what you're selling as well. We're selling a service, not a product. So I'm not, able to go out and say, hey, look, for $50 you can buy this, or $100 you can buy that, because it's a service, and each client has a different budget and a different requirement set. So with our industry, it's also very much dependent on reaching someone at the right time. So the fact that the system also repeats on itself, so you email them and then they may not respond, and then 1 week later it pings them again as a reminder, then 2 weeks later, and that in fact was the same case with you. I think I only responded to your third or fourth message when I thought, you know what, actually I will give this guy a try and see what his system's about. And it's the same deal with a lot of the responses I'm getting, is that people won't respond necessarily to the first message or the second message, but they may respond to the fourth one, or they may respond a month after getting the third or fourth message and then say, hey, I do have something, let's get on a phone call. And so, that's another really valuable aspect to the LinkedIn B2B machine.
Yeah, I find it can be a little intimidating to send obviously messages if someone's not replied. But what I find most important and where I like to help people is you want to remove thought from the process, because as soon as you start to think, should I or shouldn't I, you generally don't.
Yeah.
And then when you start to think, well, what's the worst that could happen? I mean, especially if someone's expressed interest.
Yeah.
Now, generally people will express interest and then the person's like, gets that radio silence. And then they're afraid to follow them up. I'm like, but they showed interest. You're just not at the top of their priority list. You need to get those touch points in. So yeah, that's really valuable. And I'm glad you said that. So what I was going to ask as well is what do you think helped you stand out on LinkedIn? I have some things I want to touch on, but
yeah, sure. It's a tricky question because it's hard to say really what catches certain people's eye. I reached out to one client just last week, and in fact we're getting on a phone call or a Zoom call this afternoon, and she said, I love your name, which is great. Whereas other people say, Code Brewery, do you guys make beer? They have no idea. So each person's different. I think the fact that we've got a good portfolio of work helps. One of the things that you obviously worked on was my profile. So that background image, whatever you want to call it, that sits behind the actual profile image. It's got a lot of my clients on there, their brands and all of that. And I'm sure, that helps because there's some really good brands on there.
Yeah, it's actually, I've actually used your profile in a few case studies, or like when I'm showing people what you should do, because it's a super powerful technique when someone lands on your profile. And for anyone who's watching this, check out Anthony's profile and reach out to him if you think he can help you. I'm sure he will. But yeah, it's a great example as well of what you can do. And I experience this a lot, is a lot of people are happy to mention who they've worked for, but feel less inclined to put it up front and center. But it's like, it's a tremendous trust builder, and it's it builds trust without them instinctively knowing why. It's just, you land there, you see reputable brands, they work with them, you trust them. Yeah, it's just really powerful.
Yeah, I think it is a very powerful tool, but you've also at the same time got to make sure that you're approachable. So, it's great to list companies like ANZ, McDonald's, Coca-Cola, whoever, some of those really well-known global brands on there. But we also work with the mum and dad store down the road, or the cafe that's, run by one lady and has two extra staff or whatever. We can still do work for them. So it's important to show those clients to show that you've got experience in the game, but to also still, especially around the wording that you've got up there, make sure that you're approachable. And quite a few responses I've received saying, "Oh, we're probably too small fry for you." I'm a small business as well, so no one's too small fry really. We can offer them small packages as well, or more cost-effective packages as well. And if that's still too expensive, then so be it. But being approachable is a hugely important part of it as well.
Yeah, which actually kind of brings me to one of the other things in your profile, which a lot of people don't do, but it can be really powerful, is you mentioned like proud dad, devoted husband. It's an insight into who you are personally. And it's B2B, but it's P2P. We're dealing with people. And and that's how people buy. They buy from people. So I always tell people, be yourself, because you're going to attract the right type of clients.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's always a great icebreaker as well. Sometimes, clients or a prospect will say, oh, how's it going? You're like, oh, mate, ripping my hair out because my kids have been driving me up the wall, or, I'm curled up in the corner because my football team's just gotten smashed this morning or something like that, whatever. It's important to be personable for sure.
Yeah, awesome. And if you're happy to share, what have been some of your results from the program?
Yeah, sure. So again, selling a service, it's quite often a case of a long game for me. So, someone might get on a phone call with you or a Zoom catch up and it might go really well, but then you don't hear from them again for another 6 months. So after doing this for about a year, I think we've worked with maybe 4 clients through the B2B machine. But even though that doesn't sound like a huge amount when you think 12 months of work and 4 clients, but they're return business. It's not a case of one project, $5,000 or whatever it might be, and that's it. It's a case of ongoing work with one of those clients. We've got, a monthly retainer going now, working with some big brands through them already. With other ones, it's been project-based and stuff like that. So, for confidentiality reasons, I won't mention the brands and that kind of thing. But yeah, I think it's about 4 or so. And like I said, the leads are coming and it's just a time game. So like I was saying before, I've got a call this afternoon from another prospect and hopefully something results from that as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I know with it's different for everyone. Some people have lower value products, in which case they just need a higher quantity of leads, and people with high value services, generally you can have the conversations, but there's only really a smaller percent. It seems to always balance out. So the more expensive it is, the less people in the market. But yeah, what's important is, of course, ROI, and glad to hear you get clients and building those long-term relationships. I believe you're saying you do have a lot of clients who've stuck around for a long time as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Like some of my clients I've been working with for 7, 8 years. I got one client who even predates when I took over the business. So, they've been around for about 12 years or 13 years now with the business. So, and it's, for me anyway, it's all about relationship and making sure that the relationships are maintained and nurtured and that kind of thing, because it is a long game, especially when you're working with an advertising agency who, you won't hear from for 6 months, and then all of a sudden they've got 2 or 3 projects within the space of 3 weeks that you need to jump onto. So yeah, and another thing, which I don't know if it's going to be one of your questions later, I might be jumping the gun here, Ryan, but one of the other things that I thought's been fantastic about the B2B machine is the return on investment, as you were mentioning previously. It's a very small cost relatively. The initial fee for the learning and setup of the campaign, and then even the ongoing, sales flow and LinkedIn, whatever the different accounts are. I think, what is it, Ryan? Like maybe $300 a month or something.
Yeah, now with the US dollars weakened a bit, so it's probably about 200, 250.
Yeah, sure. But, even, in normal times in regards to the dollar, it's, no more than $350 a month, which can sound like a lot potentially if you're unsure about what you're going to get out of it. But in the past, I've always employed a business development manager, and a business development manager is, if you get a good one, minimum kind of salary is going to be $70,000 plus commission. So, and what you got to look at, the results that they're returning as opposed to this, and it's really comparable, if, to be honest, potentially even better with the B2B machine if you're structuring it right. Because in the B2B machine, it's me that's doing the selling. So I'm facilitating those conversations, not another employee who doesn't know my business as well as I do. So I think, you know, from a return on investment perspective, you know, I've spent, you know, a fraction of what I've made out of the B2B machine so far, you know, and really in my instance, one client win basically waivers the cost of the whole campaign and ongoing monthly costs as well.
It's awesome. That's what I want to hear. One thing I want to convince you to do more of is the content marketing side of things, so that you stay in front of mind. But the cool thing is you don't have to. But it's a great way to gently remind people that you're still there.
Oh, absolutely. Like, there's no doubt I'm not taking it as far as I could, and I'm sure I could get even better results. I think it's a case of I'm comfortable with the amount of, like, the results that are coming through, and until I find that balance between, you know, managing existing work and the sales side with the B2B machine, which I'm doing. You know, I've employed a new project manager who's going to take over a lot of that project management, so I can focus on building the business up even more. Until then, the content marketing side of things is being neglected.
Yeah, it's a story I hear very often, so I wouldn't stress out too much.
Whoops.
But yeah, the next thing I'll be telling you to do is video. Tell everyone to do video. No one wants to do video.
Yeah, totally.
Okay. Anyway, well, last question is, I guess, what would you tell anyone thinking about joining the program, or joining b2bleads.com?
Look, it's totally worth it. I've been really happy with the results. You know, at first I was skeptical because I get lots of LinkedIn messages or emails from people who tell me that they can improve our sales funnel and all of that kind of thing. And I've tried one or two in the past, and they've been waste of time and waste of money. But this really is an automated system that you don't really have to put that much effort into in the bigger scheme of things, you know, in half an hour per day maximum, and you're done. Especially if you get things like A-text up and running well and all of that, which I've really loved using. So, you know, it's definitely worth it. Give it a crack, and, you know, hopefully you can get some awesome results from it. And, you know, if you even put more effort into it than I do, then no doubt you'll be able to get a good ROI.
No, but that's what I like to hear. Results are not just results. Their ROI is dependent on input. So, you know, if you can get great results for minimal input, that's a great ROI. So that's what I like to hear. Awesome. Well, thanks so much for your time today, Anthony. Really appreciate it. I know you're a business owner, and I know your time is valuable. And for anyone interested in any software development, website development, please check out Anthony's profile. Get in touch with him as well.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Ryan. Pleasure to be here.
Thanks, Anthony. Bye.
Cheers, mate. See you guys.